Welcome to Thrash Talk, the series where we get some of the biggest creators in the entire community and talk about how we can make the game we all love even better. Now, today's episode revolves around Hockey Ultimate Team. In the future, I do plan on doing this for franchise mode, Be a Pro, ESHL, whatever else we can come up with. But today is for HUT specifically. Now, I want to turn the conversation to you guys and ask if there's anything you want to see in Hockey Ultimate Team. What will make it so that way you continue playing past January? What can EA add to make you have more fun playing this game? We talk about a lot here today, whether it's comparisons to MLB and Madden, what's missing from the modes and ways it can be improved. But if there's anything we don't touch on, let us know down below in the comments. Let's go ahead and get started. What's going on, guys? Today we're talking about Hockey Ultimate Team, and the guest today needs absolutely no introduction. It is Dude Perfect. What's going on, man?
You know what's weird? I've never watched Dude Perfect. But my entire time being a streamer and a content creator, that is like, I get told I look like anyone with a beard.
That's fair.
You know, whether it be Jordy Ben or, Ryan O'Reilly. But Dude Perfect was like the first one that's kind of just stuck around. But thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming on. And today, like, the reason I have you on is not just because you're one of the top Hockey Ultimate Team creators in the world on Twitch, YouTube, and GWC, but you also are part of the MLB community, and you know how everything runs in their version of Ultimate Team. Now, I've kind of switched over and started doing some WWE content, and they have their own version of Ultimate Team. And basically what I want to do is combine our collective mind and try and figure out how to fix NHL 24 and HUT, because in NHL 23, I'm bored. I'm sick of it. It is too repetitive, and between the two of us, I feel like we could have some pretty good ideas.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that when it comes to like making drastic changes to Hockey Ultimate Team, the thing that you have to remember, or that I've tried to over the last like year or so, is to be like subjective, that we are the 1% of the 1%, that we play the game far more than it's intended to be played. But there are definitely things that could be added, or have a focus on from a development standpoint that would help with longevity of the game. I think that ultimately where we're at right now, I think that everyone that plays the game, that is still playing the game, is in pretty heavy agreement that it's just lame. It's just boring. Whether you're a content creator or not, whether you play 5 hours a week or not, it is the same thing, and it has been the same thing for years. And I think that, man, like you hear like back when they moved to like next, or what they called next gen, so in NHL 15,
right,
that set themselves up for what seems to be a decade of failure, from a development standpoint, because it appeared that they made it way harder on themselves to actually make adjustments from a development standpoint year over year, and whether they want to put new stuff in like leaderboards or anything like that, it just appears that the foundation and the code of which the game is built just fights them. Yep. So making changes, which seem like an easy thing from a non-developer standpoint, and would be easy to fix, it just simply isn't. And now we get to see a little bit of that behind the curtain, because we're still in the what is it called now?
I think we are EA Creator Design Council.
It's called Design Council.
Yeah, EA Creator Design Council is like the full.
Yeah, which really, I mean, recently has, been a little bit more of a focus from them, but really this is probably the least impact we've had over the last little while. And I think that just stems from a frustration, not just from a player standpoint, but there was a lot of changes in the background at EA, not just EA NHL, it appears, like not even EA as a whole, like the gaming industry
entirely.
The economy has seemed to just absolutely crush video games as a whole. So when it comes to NHL, I think the main thing, like if you were to explain to someone who has never played NHL, what is the issue? I think the best way to do it is you could fire up NHL 20.
Yep.
And, ignore the blacked out menus.
The menu, yeah.
And just go in and be like, here is what you do in Hockey Ultimate Team. And then you showed them NHL 23, and it is not over an over exaggeration, the exact same thing. To be honest, there's actually less, because NHL 20 still had online seasons. It still had, I think that was the year they said they had competitive seasons, but they were really icing it out. So there was like 2 of them.
Yeah, there was a very small amount of them, but it did happen.
Yeah.
Was that the year that they? Sorry to kind of change subjects quickly here. Was that the year that they tried doing the competitive season with no rewards?
I think so. There was one where they tried like a silver one, and I remember that being like one of the last ones they attempted, and they all kind of blend together, which goes back to my original point.
The games being the same.
It has been the exact same. So, the biggest issue is just simply a lack of innovation or a lack. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I've been a game changer now, or a game changer now since NHL 18. So it's been like 6 years. It appears that they are not scared, but there is a bottom line they need to hit, and it is still being hit. So in terms of revenue,
right,
they do not want to go out and miss. So they can't drastically change the way Hockey Ultimate Team operates, because if it doesn't land, and it starts impacting money, although I think it's got to be soon. It's got to be soon.
Definitely.
I think that's what really where they're at. I think that we are going to get in NHL 24. We are going to get, unless there's some miracle, Rivals, Squad Battles, HUT Champs repeat.
Yep.
And I personally, not even as a content creator, but as a consumer, which is what I tried over the last year to really,
look at it from a different
really
view.
Focus on, because I remember my content last year, I was just so hard. I think it's because I got involved with the Gaming World Championship, and a lot of my closest friends are some of the best players in the world that I started to focus on.
The competitive side,
having the best cards and all of that. And this year I've really tried to be like, okay, let's, what is the 95% of the player base play the game like? And I really don't see that in NHL 24 we're going to get a new mode. Now, if we do, that'd be incredible. But as we've seen, we are losing player base.
Yep.
It appears. Cross console was necessary, I think, to keep the game. Could you imagine no cross console?
With where we are right now, with having cross console right now is about where we were last year without cross console.
Yes, which is scary.
It's terrifying because we were complaining at this point last year, if we had cross-play, we had cross-console, this wouldn't be an issue, there'd be more to do. And we have that, and there's not more to do, and the player base is about the same that it was last year, but actually it's half of what it was because you are now combining the consoles. It's not... It could have helped, it didn't help.
Yes, and to be honest, I think this goes back to what I was saying, is that there is a... like I said, I don't think fear is the right word, but there is a clear thing about not taking big risks. The fact that they need the sales of the old gen games.
Yes.
And I understand for anyone that can't afford a new console. I understand, but you have to be realistic in the gaming industry. It has now been 3 years, and developers are still making games on old gen consoles. And what that did, especially on yearly games, specifically for sports games, the reason why that is so hampering is that, imagine, there's memes that the NHL has 5 people working for it. So now not only do they have to make and come up with new stuff that they make in a very time crunched manner, they have essentially 12 weeks to actually make change year over year.
Yep.
Okay. 12 weeks to actually put new stuff in. They now have to do it and make sure it works on old gen consoles as well.
4 different consoles, essentially. 4.
Exactly. So it's eliminating old gen.
It'd be huge. And
I think it would be big.
Yeah.
And again, I understand, we're about to enter probably one of the worst economic times that me and you have been alive for, other than 2008. It might even be worse than that. So I understand people that say that you can't afford, to get a new gen console. Totally understand that. But if you're going to spend $100 on a video game, just one particular video game, you might get more out of it if the game was improved and you spent $250 on a Series S, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's number one. I think that they need to remove old gen. And you mentioned MLB.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been my main focus lately. And what a lot of NHL gets compared to, like, why don't they just copy and paste MLB? I don't think everything would work if you just
No.
transferred over. The gameplay is so different, like how it's actually played is so different. But they have announced that this is the last year of old gen. So that means going into 24, the show 24, there will not be any old gen. I can almost guarantee that NHL 25 will probably be
I'm on all four.
PS4 and Xbox One. And from a business standpoint, I understand that. If 30% of your sales are on old gen, that's $100 times 30% of your entire player
right,
base.
Exactly. So, it makes sense.
That's extremely difficult. But back to my original point, the MLB The Show 22 actually a very regarded as a poor game.
Okay.
And I think that when you compare and you're rating sports video games, I think the way that you have to do it is year over year. Because you can't compare. Everyone says NHL 14 is the best game.
NHL 23 is nothing compared to what it was on a different console with different people making it and a different code.
It's not a better game. It just simply had more to do.
Right.
NHL 14 is the epitome because it had more to do. Half of it didn't work correctly, and we're living in nostalgia.
Yep.
But like it literally took 5 hours to simulate a week in GM Connected. The app barely worked, and but there was an option to play GM Connected.
Right.
That's what people remember. But 23 is still graphically far better. The way that the gameplay, all of it is far better.
I would argue. So before we continue on, I had this conversation with somebody on stream the other day, and they were saying on how the gameplay back then was so much better, and they're like, there's no glitch goals. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no glitch goals.
Yeah, we scored short side above the glove for like 7 or 8, 10 straight years, right?
Literally,
like,
we had the bacon clapper.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that this game specifically is the only game with glitches, though, right? Every game you're gonna find a way to score. That's just how it is. Every year has their way to score.
This year, I think the frustration reached kind of a breaking point because there is when you continually roll out the same product and you're not seeing improvement and you actually anyway, sorry, before I just want to finish my thought on the MLB
thing on
22. So in MLB 21, in my opinion, before 23 was the best Ultimate Team game mode I have ever played, and maybe hardcore MLB fans maybe didn't like it or whatnot, but from an outsider standpoint, a casual fan, they introduced the parallel system. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, every single card, if you used it in any mode of Diamond Dynasty, it went up based on so basically you hit parallel 1, all of the attributes went up +1. So you could have a card that isn't the meta or isn't great, but you love that card, you could get it all the way up to parallel 5 and all of its attributes would go up +5. I think that is a standard that needs to be across all the industry. And it is something that MLB and San Diego Studios does amazing, is that they take these dramatic risks that aren't just improving their game, but they are implementing something new in Ultimate Team. And when you consider how Ultimate Team is the biggest thing of any sports video game, the fact that they are continually able to come up and actually make good things happen is impressive. However, MLB 21, amazing. They introduced a lot of new things. 22, they really didn't do anything new. And it just was like, 23, what MLB did in MLB 23 is something that is going to, I don't want to sound like I'm being over the top, but it is going to fundamentally change how every single Ultimate Team will be played within 5 years. I'm not talking about NHL. I'm talking about Madden, 2K, all of it. Because what they did was they said, why are we just doing the same method of progression? Game comes out, and let's say 90s are the best.
Yeah.
Right? 90s are there's 2 or 3 90 overall cards, and then every month they go up by a little bit, and they keep releasing, and then finally by the end of the game cycle, they're 99s. They said, let's just have 99s at launch of the game. Now, obviously, that isn't going to be able to work if you just copy and pasted that format over to NHL, because we all know that NHL at 99 is the worst experience.
Exactly.
However, what I've now realized is what that allows them to do is, they have a season format, which we know works because of Fortnite and every other
Rocket League and every other game
video
like
game does the season pass format. So stop fighting it. So what happens at MLB now they released all these 99s, and I was kind of a skeptic in the sense that this could hit or this could be awful because again, you're releasing what we consider endgame content at the launch of the game, and now everyone's got these loaded teams. But here's the thing: everyone has these loaded teams,
right?
And
so there's
on top of that.
Before you continue, sorry. If you were to do this in NHL, right? Because you have people who come in.
Yes.
If you were to do this in NHL, and like I don't want to say like 99 gameplay ruins the game, blah, blah, blah. I want to say if we have day one 99s in NHL, you completely eliminate the pay to win aspect. That's gone. That entire I'm gonna buy packs. You don't need to do that.
Why this doesn't work for them.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
So if that's gone, right, the whole pay to win system is gone. Now it is legitimately the best versus the best. It doesn't matter. This guy had Mario and I didn't, and Mario's the reason he won the game. You could have Mario now, right? You could do this in every. It doesn't matter if it's competitive seasons. They want to bring that in, and you can limit it like they have in. It was a BR.
MLB, it's called events, where every 10 days they have these crazy restrictions, and because all these cards are accessible, you can do easily make a team for that event, which means that you're constantly changing your lineup, you're using new stuff, and with every card being in the high 90s, so I'll give you an example. So Team of the Week happens in October, okay? Logan Couture scores a hat trick. It's amazing, and it's crazy. I want to use his Logan Couture card. It costs an arm and a leg in terms of at the state of the game, at the launch of the game. Let's say he gets up to an 88, right? He's an 88. That's great. In 2 months, in a month, off the team. Okay, that month, even though let's say in that week he had 15 points, it was incredible. That is worth so far less than someone having 6 points in April that gets Team of the Week, who's a 99.
Yeah.
Right? So that is what they are eliminating. So I'll use another example. Adam Duvall, who is a great player so far for the Red Sox. He just got hurt. He's having an incredible first week of the season. They just released like a jacked up high 90s version of him that I can use for the duration of the season. And how the seasons work is you can use set 1 cards all the way until set 3. Season 3 starts July 7th. Right? So this is when it's going to be interesting because it's all sunshine and rainbows right now. But July 7th in MLB is really going to show you if this method works or not. Because essentially, you can bring 1 card that is in set 1, it's called a wild card, into your lineup in season 3, but that's it. All the other set 1 cards can't use. And that's a scary thought because then now you're starting all over again, essentially. Right? Which is going to be interesting if that works or not. But it also means that, hey, you pick up the game in July, you're on the same playing field for the most part. The one thing they do well is their base cards, right? Their base cards and sets, they're what's called core, and they can be used at any point throughout the season.
Okay.
So that's how they get away with, right? So, but all the crazy cards they're releasing right now, they did World Baseball Classic, so say it's Winter National for the 19 weeks that they run that, that you won't be able to use those in a couple months. But no, I think it dramatically changes the foundation of what Ultimate Teams, not just hockey, but NHL is just the same thing run out over and over again. I know that's a meme, but as a content creator, we see it more than you guys understand because at the end of the day, we have a business. Okay. We have to find a way to remain engaging, and that's on us. Right? But that means we have to get way more creative at stuff that's outside of the game to give us self-inflicted challenges in game to kind of which is on us to do. But we're running out of room here, of map space. It's been done.
So that was something I wanted to talk about. And that was the No Money Spent series that you and me have both been doing this year.
Best idea that I've had, not best idea, best thing that I've done on my channel, and personally how I've played.
Yeah, so you did the Not a Dollars, which is a more grindy version of what I do. Like you play the game, like you play all of your champs, or not all of your champs games, but you play champs, you play rivals.
Get to 11 wins because champs rewards are phenomenal.
That's something else that we could talk about too. My series was almost the exact opposite, where I barely played the game and I tried to show how not to play the game, essentially. How to spend a limited amount of time and not spend money and still have a really good team. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I just ended that series because we just hit Team of the Season. It's over. Like the whole point was to do the big pack opening at the end of Team of the Season. I don't know what I'm going to do now. I almost want to start over. It is the most fun I've had playing this game. And that's really strange to me that I'm having more fun with my low overall team. And I did end up having a really good team at the end of it. But it was getting those cards and the reward of, I finally pulled a 92. That's helping my team so much. Whereas like right now on my main team, I pull a 92. They don't make my team. I have no excitement.
So scientifically, that's because the only way that we actually get dopamine from this video game is when we open up a pack, because that's hope. And when you beat someone in champs, because beating someone in rivals has very little impact. You're just getting your weekly chores done. That
essentially,
is,
yes.
in my opinion, the only way that scientifically you're actually getting a dopamine hit. And because we do the same thing over and over again, what happens is you get less and less dopamine every time that you do that, which leads to just being constantly frustrated. And again, if you play the game as much as we do, it's magnified even more. I will say, I made a joke on Coffee and Shell that if three things don't happen, for anyone that hasn't watched a lot of me, my thing has been kind of I always have the best team, and I like review cards, and I from a competitive standpoint, I have now I've fully accepted I am a Div 2 Andy. I will not be able to compete in GWC, and I'm a super competitive player. I was once pretty good. I was one game away from making GWC in 2021, and that's probably why I like 2021 so much. But again, that's all subjective. But yeah, it's just not going to happen anymore because I don't play the game enough. Like, I think that's one thing that's probably thought of is that I play the game less than I ever have, even though I make more videos and stream it.
Which is wild, right?
It's crazy because the second the camera's off, I don't play the game. I can't, which is really sucks because like it kind of killed the love I had for the franchise. But anyways, so I had this God Squad again this year. Nothing new. I spent like, I'll be open about it, probably like 3,000. Yeah. And that sounds ridiculous, and it is, but it's my job. You know, it's how I make income.
Exactly.
But I did a lot of research in the MLB scene last year when I kind of really tried to focus on why there's so many great creators and they pull such crazy numbers, and a lot of it has to do with, you know, the fact that MLB is such a higher ceiling. There's far more people that watch baseball, and that's more of a hockey problem than it is an NHL problem.
Right.
But I started watching a few creators, and just their level of creativity and the effort and everything they put in is just exceptional. So I kind of went around. I really don't like watching other YouTubers. I've always made that kind of a thing because I don't want to inherently take someone else's idea.
Right.
Even if you're not meaning to, you know, if you watch a lot of NHL creators, right? Like, so I try not to. So with MLB, I was like, okay, I'm going to go around and I'm going to see just from a creator standpoint, what do they do that's well? And almost everyone had a No Money Spent series. And I had one last year, but it only lasted like 5 episodes because by December, I don't want to play 2 accounts. It's very difficult to have this, what I call the Ferrari in the garage, and then go and have to grind and make this other team. So I said this year, I am going to commit to at least making and playing my No Money Spent team every week. And I did. And I'm glad that I did that because A, it was great for my YouTube channel. But B, after Team of the Year, bro, the God Squad had Team of the Year. Great cards. I didn't even open it. I didn't spend money at Team of the Year either. I just had, you know. Oh, no, sorry. That was the last time I did, was end of December. And then I realized while I'm playing my No Money Spent team more and more that I have really no urge to go and play with these like great cards because I think if you have time or money, okay, if you have time or money and you use one of them, that's probably what that determines if you're a No Money Spent player or if you're someone who plays the game every few hours. You don't have enough time to make up and keep up, so you spend money to do that, which is fine. That's, I understand that. It's a passion of yours. You spend money on the game, that's fine.
It's your money.
But what I realized is if you have time and money, you are just cutting your interest in the game in half.
Yep.
Because you could just be grinding and playing the game No Money Spent. And I'll tell you, when you pull something from No Money Spent, it hits 10 times more than like what you just said, right? So playing the game No Money Spent, I made this joke on Coffee and Shell. It wasn't a joke. I'm holding firm to this. There's 3 things that if they are not in NHL 24, and again, they're realistic because I know behind the curtains, I can see. I'm not going to be like, if they don't move to another engine or whatever, like, obviously that's not going to happen. Madden,
Right,
would know that, right? So the three things were, the market is cross-console. Okay?
Yep.
It doesn't even have to be cross-gen. Just the market is cross-console.
PS5 to Xbox Series X, and...
Yes.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then I don't, like, that's one. If that does not happen, if any of these three things don't happen, to preface this, I will not spend $1 in NHL 24. Not one single dollar will be spent in NHL 24 if these three things don't happen. One is cross market, and I think that is something that will drastically improve if they're not going to change anything. Like, if they're really not going to fundamentally change Hockey Ultimate Team, we at least need more cards to acquire. Because if you want to acquire any of these random wacky Wednesday cards and stuff, you simply can't, because
there's no way to do it.
There's none on the market. If you play on Xbox, God, I feel bad.
I feel terrible for people on Xbox.
Yeah, because it's a fraction.
Because I was having a conversation with somebody. Sorry to cut you off here.
No, go ahead.
I was having a conversation with somebody, and they said there was only like 3,800 cards up on Xbox, and I looked on PlayStation, there was over 10K, and I'm like, how on earth do you even build a team? Like, as someone who only uses untradeable cards, because I'm a content creator, it just makes more sense to have more coins for packs. I do a lot of packs. I think you guys know that watching me. But for somebody who isn't a content creator, what cards are you using? You're basically having to do what I do, because you can't get any of the cards you actually want. Yep. And it's certainly a problem, especially for those on Xbox. So, sorry, go ahead with your second one.
That's major. So that's one. And I think that, from my understanding, it's not crazy difficult to do. I think that they need to make sure crossplay works, but we'll see. Who knows? Number two is the fast wrap.
That's got to be,
I'll pull back the curtain here. I don't care. This isn't on you. This is on me. That was pointed out in the summer by a former content creator. And it just, whether it was ignored or they deemed it not important enough, you can defend it. Sure. Absolutely, you can. I rarely get scored on with the fast wrap because you have to watch for it, and I know how to defend it. And I do it now. I held off months, just not doing it. And the problem is, again, to touch on scientifically, why you enjoy things.
Right.
If the only way if you're playing a game that has very little to it and then you lose 1v1, no one goes to work, comes home, and then is like, you know what? I want to take a bunch of losses. That's what I'm looking forward to do.
Exactly, yeah.
It's only going to raise frustration. So I was like, I am not going to do this stupid rap because I don't want to show my viewers how to do it. I acknowledge I have a very big influence now. You have to be careful, and I think that's something that I didn't do in the past, is I was like, okay, this is how the 1%ers do. I think that if the Division 5 guys know how to do that, that's even worse. So I still have not shown anyone how to do that rap. But come January, I was like, enough is enough. I'm done with it. And I really didn't improve all that much, but I was not losing nearly as much because that goal was available. And I don't abuse it, but I'll score it when it's open, because if you don't want to, you don't defend. No. And that isn't on us, because I guess technically you could load in and be like, I'm not scoring like that. But why is that on us?
No, absolutely. And I still don't do it. I'm here in Division 1 and I'm playing people who constantly do it.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm still not going to do it, especially on stream, because I don't want, like you said, I don't want to show other people what's going on there. But I
appreciate the principle.
The fact that EA was aware of it before the game was released, what do we do? We're essentially game testers. This is what we do.
We are game changers now, or glorified
testers.
Game testers.
Essentially.
Yeah, that's essentially what we are. Yeah.
We brought up a bug. A bug was brought up by someone, and it wasn't resolved. It's been complained about for months on months on months, and it hasn't been resolved. And it better be resolved for the next game, or else you're going to lose a lot of people.
That's what I'm saying. So, if that is still in the game, and the reason why that it is an actual, you can actually score that, is all goes back to, it appears the new philosophy is they want to make all modes play the same.
They want to be
World of Chell, and I think that that's a good thing, because, again, for people that don't know this, the Hockey Ultimate Team devs and the World of Chell devs are it's like they work on different continents.
Legitimately, yes.
They have, they are just not intertwined at all. It's two separate games. So the fact that you have a very small developer pool, and now you're
splitting them up.
You can,
even
yeah,
more.
and then you split them up again. Now
Yep.
at least they're all together. So I can understand the thought process there. But the second problem was that they appear to not have enough time to make changes and impactful changes that they want in a year, because they keep having to go back and fix the prior game. And
Right.
it appears that they were like, you know what, for this game, what
We're
you
gonna
get
leave it.
is what you get.
Yep.
We are going to put all of our focus into the next game. And I can appreciate that to an extent. But if 24...
Yeah, that's exactly it. They could do that, but if they don't actually do anything for 24, then it's going to be...
Exactly. And I still don't accept what they've done with this, because
No,
what has
because-
happened now is they released a game that was half cooked. I've said
Yeah.
this before, that it should have been released in January,
I
if
agree.
then. And we got charged full price. Now
Yep.
we get the game for free, so
Yes.
but I'm still a consumer. I still have to consume the game. So
we're still doing the same
to,
thing that other people are doing. Yes, we did not
Yeah.
pay for the game, and I understand that, like, our money did not go towards the game, but we're still playing the exact same game you are. We're having the same thoughts you guys are having. It's not like we got the game for free. We don't get to complain. There's no reason to complain about it. It's not the case.
I'm gonna be very, very honest here, because people will be like, you're a content creator, you're only selfishly out for your own thing. I'll be completely open and honest here. Selfishly, if the game is better, I do better.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, whether you like me or Thrash or any of the other creators, at the end of the day, if the game is better, there are more views to be had. So we want the same thing.
I always find it interesting that I'll see on Twitter or Reddit, and I don't want to bring this up too much, but you see, like, the game changers, they don't want the game to be good. What?
Yeah, that's just people complaining to complain. I have dealt with Reddit more than anyone else, and
yes, you
a lot of
have.
it was self-inflicted. The AP thing was a pretty big learning opportunity for myself. And again, I think that now I try to talk and give my thoughts on things that are subjective, less and less. So gameplay is one. You are never going, the way that hockey is played, you are never going to get everyone to agree that gameplay is perfect. MLB, which is like this godsend game right now, where almost everyone in the community is saying it's great, you will find people that complain that the game is not fun, okay? Like the gameplay. Gameplay, I don't like commenting on, because 22, you loved.
I did.
22, I hated. There was no time and space, and there wasn't glitch goals, but there wasn't really ways to set up
fun
goals.
Plays.
So what ended up happening was I would have 15 minutes time on attack to 5, and all we're doing is waiting for someone to get a shot that just beats my goalie.
Yeah.
And, in a video game, in real hockey, it was very sim-based. But the problem with hockey is that it is the one sport that relies on luck almost more than any other sport.
Absolutely.
We can all agree on that. Like
yes.
A shot goes off a pad, off of whatever, it goes in. In a video game, you want total control because you're at the control, right? So when a save, a 1T doesn't go in, you're frustrated because, it's ones and zeros that should go in, right? So I wasn't able to. I did not play well. I didn't like 22, but I can accept that people did like it. There are people out there that like it, which is a far change from like in 21 of my mentality before. It's like, oh, you guys are all wrong. So, like talking about things that are subjective, I really don't like giving my thoughts on anymore. So gameplay is definitely one. But I think now, like, no money spent. Like I said, man, it is just so much more fun. But anyways, the gameplay. So yeah, number 2 is the fast wraps. Just the fast wrap. Like, human goalie animations were put in the game. That's what I was getting to, is that they tried to make all the game modes the same. And if you play World of Chell, whether you want to admit it or not, it plays very similar. You'll see passes that get through. They don't make intercepts. It's very, very different.
Right.
And the human goaltenders have absolutely destroyed, the AI goaltender. Because now not only are they trying to decide what computer animations to make, they're trying to be like, oh, I got these like 7 human ones.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And that's why the goalie doesn't hug the post on a wraparound.
It's funny too, because I don't know how many times and how many years we've complained about goalies and how they don't seem to matter, and somehow they're worse than they were in years past. And this would be the reason why.
Like that, whatever card you have in, gives you zero advantage.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are like, oh, this card specifically is going to, like, oh, an 89 version of that guy came out? I gotta get him. At the end of the day, like, use his base. It's going to be the same
placebo.
thing.
It is literally whatever goalie makes you feel the most comfortable.
It is, yes.
When they go to cover the puck, they'll throw it in their own net. Right? Like that.
Yep.
That's just the reality of the situation. And they didn't fix it at all this year.
No.
They just left it. They said, hey, that's what you got is what you got. And that's unacceptable from a company that is, a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
So that's number 2. Oh my God, now I'm trying to remember what number 3 was.
I believe I know what it is.
Oh, a new mode.
Yeah.
A new mode added into Hockey Ultimate Team. This could be draft champs. This could be online seasons, competitive seasons, something that they completely came up with that is something we do weekly that changes the cycle of rivals, champs, squad battles, repeat.
Hey, I have that.
That's the one I have the most.
That's part of my merch. I have that on my on merch.
Oh, I haven't seen that shirt. I've actually seen that. That's that is clever. But it's so if they don't add those 3 things, so the glitch wrap, the fast wrap, even the Pogues goal, for anyone out there, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's the one where you sit behind the net back and forth, and then you go far side on the far side post. I'm actually okay with that because it requires some setup. Like you're
not just skating in the zone and pressing a button.
Yeah, and the fast wrap is so easy to pull off that it's very, very frustrating. But I can understand why people don't like the Pogues goal anymore because that was really the only one in 22 that was like a glitch or something that was automatic to an extent, but it was much harder to pull off because there was no time and space. But anyways, so and then the last one is cross market. If those 3 things don't happen, I will not spend $1 in NHL 24. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even know how much I'm going to spend regardless if all those 3 things do. Because like I mentioned, if you have the time, don't spend the money.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of people out there that have excessive amounts of time and they've got adult money and they do it and it really ruins your experience. I promise you that. But I've never had more, like, I still somewhat enjoy. I'm at a point now though where my team, like, I can't do anything with, which was frustrating. But yeah, like it's just been the same thing over and over again in
It's
NHL.
been what, 5 years now though? 4 years?
Yeah, like it's unacceptable from a consumer to accept that.
Right.
But
like, so you said for MLB, you said MLB 21 and 22 were nearly identical for the Ultimate Team.
They were nearly identical.
Right.
And 22 had a very bad feel to, like, on social media, did not have a good reception.
We've had, not only was 21 and 22 nearly identical, 23 is nearly identical, but this is also nearly identical to 20. And it's starting to get to the point where, like, why am I playing the new game even at this point? I could just be playing an older game. Yeah, if it's not going to be anything different, and it is frustrating.
And that's the thing, when you compare your sports games, you have to compare year over year. Yes. And there is just so little.
Yeah.
And I understand that there is just not a big development team, and the resources compared to other sports games, it's just not there. That's fine, but I hate we got to start showing them with our wallet. But I don't know how it isn't happened.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that COVID really saved them because everyone had an extra $2,000 a month, especially if you're Canadian, had an extra $2,000 a month. And if you get people that are not used to an extra $2,000 a month and they had to stay inside and play video games, where do you think that money went?
Exactly.
I have a really big feeling that COVID propped up Ultimate Team modes, not just in the NHL, in other modes too.
No, everything. Yeah, absolutely.
I think before to end it, in terms of like what do we think changes will happen and realistically, I've been a game changer now since like NHL 18. Yep. What I have seen is that I think at the high level, the Madden devs and the NHL devs, whether it's just one guy from each, are like close.
Okay.
But there is I think the team as a whole, they have very ease of contact with. So when you see new things in Madden, we will usually get them 2 years later.
Right, yeah,
or
down the line.
X factors. That was straight up just ripped from Madden. They were like, "Oh, we don't know we don't really have enough time to put something new in. Let's just go and use Madden."
Right.
So what Madden did this year, I played Madden very little because it comes out about a month before NHL does. I do love football, and I play the hell out of Madden when it comes out. But they added in a season pass.
Yes.
So when I saw that, the first thing I thought was like, "Oh my God, NHL is going to get this in NHL 25." And I was like, this could be cool. Now, the season pass was kind of awful in Madden, but it was there. And if they go that route, that's an improvement that would be cool. And for anyone that doesn't know what the season pass is, it's like you have, by playing the game, you unlock things that are guaranteed.
Guaranteed rewards.
And we don't have guaranteed rewards in HUTs, and that's something that I've fought.
Yeah, I'll vouch on that one. Like that is your thing.
Yeah, something you realize is a game changer is that like when you come into the program, your eyes are wide and you want to get involved in every talk. And like I used to be like, this is like I'd give my inputs on World of Shell, even though I rarely played World of Shell.
Right.
Now I stay in my lane and I stay in my like hyper lane where I'm like, okay, I've got these 3 things: face-off rating in NHL. I may never change anything, but I did get that fixed. The face-off rating for centerman in HUT, it being a baseline so that you could actually use
any center at a center,
or anyone like Scheifele at center. I got that, and I'm proud of that. Okay, because we don't do anything. Our opinions very rarely get heard, but I at least got that one. And I'll go if I retire, at least I know I got face-off ratings for centerman to be a baseline. But yeah, like I guaranteed rewards is one. We put in an exceptional amount of time. And EA's formula is to give us a way to gamble. Yeah. And that's, again, that comes back to how are you receiving dopamine and your excitement in a video game? Gambling is a very easy way to do it. And I don't want to sound like they're, I really don't like when people say it's gambling because it's far different when you're betting in-game currency to real money. And I think that the actual like damage you can do is far, far more in the real thing.
Yes, yeah.
But at the end of the day, now I've realized that like, dude, you do well in champs, man. I don't know how many times I've seen HK get like top 5 and pull his hamstring. Whereas some random will get a 95, and that's just unacceptable. There needs to be a reward for the time input, and that is something that MLB does perfectly. You see what the light at the end of the tunnel is for whatever mode that they have. You go and play that, you get said reward, you feel rewarded when you do it, and that keeps the chase up entirely. So, there's a lot of things that could be done, but we'll see. NHL 24 is scary. I was so certain the year after cross-console we'd get the best game ever, and I have never been as pessimistic about the franchise than I have been right now. And that might just be because I'm jaded. I've been doing this too long. Yeah. Again, we play the game far more than anyone else. Actually, we don't, which is terrifying.
Good point. Like, yes, there are some. I ran into somebody in Rivals the other day with over 2,500 games played, and I have 4 accounts, and I haven't played more than 2,000.
Guys, I do not mean this in a rude way. If you have time to play your Rivals games, a HUT Champs run, and squad battles, please stream or do something. And the reason why I say that is I just play the game because I don't want to stream and all of that. You have too much time. That's the reality. Maybe you're injured, maybe, and I understand that. But if you're an able body and you are able to do all of that in a week, if you do the math on how much time that is, that's about a 40-hour work week. So if you've got time for 40 hours on top of working a full-time job, just stream and get something out of it. People want to hear and see people that play the game that much. I promise you that.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm hella mediocre at the video game. So if there's, anything is possible. But please, guys, if you play the game that much, fire up a stream, fire up TikToks, YouTube Shorts. It's never been easier.
Yeah, do something.
Please do something like that.
Anyway. Weird to hear you say something like that, dude, because, like, think about it when we were kids, when we were growing up. Say we were both 14, and we
would have been allowed to do that, though.
Yeah.
It's the norm. The industry norm is you can play as much video games as possible because it's an escape from real life.
It's so funny to think about that, because, like, growing up, it's like, stop playing the go outside.
Yeah.
Stop playing video games. You're not going to do anything.
Never been allowed.
Yep. Nope. Now it's like, oh, you're not streaming, but you're playing this much? No, absolutely. Hop into, even if you don't want to stream, and you would rather do YouTube, like, do that. Make a series or do something.
Care about the opinions of. I mean, look at Reddit. Reddit is chock full of people that play the game way too much, and it's their only outlet, which is why they're so passionate on there. If you just fired up a stream or a TikTok or something, I guarantee you'd be stunned by the amount of people that would listen to you. So
absolutely. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I do want to bring up something that you've put together this year, which is great for the NHL community as a whole, and that would be the HUT Hub.
Hey, yeah, so the HUT Hub, my buddy Tris from LG, we become very close because we worked on like every single event for esports together. And I said in passing in last summer, I was like, dude, I'd love to make my own HUT database. You know, there's already a great one in HUT Builder, but I know that the person running it has stated publicly many times that like it's just a lot. We don't get any money from it. You know, it's a big time sink, and EA does not allow us to have the market API or the HUT API, which would allow us to literally just pull whatever goes into the game. We can pull onto the site. So if you think of like MLB The Show, Madden, like Mutthead and I think it's called Futhead or Futbin or something. EA allows them to get the API of cards. So immediately when a new card goes into the game, it goes right on the site. We don't have that. So we have to manually add stuff in. So this year, it took a long time for everything to get developed and the actual thing to work. And I released it kind of like middle, end of January, which I knew was tough because that's like the end of the cycle. Yeah. But my hope and plans for it this year is basically to just keep doing it, and at the launch of 24 have a ton of tools and everything accessible so that if I'm not online or any other creator isn't online and you don't know where to go for a question about Hockey Ultimate, if this card's good or not, basically you just go to the site and it would just explain where it'd be. There'll be a nice forum that we can all use. There'll be, you know, spots that'll show you the most searched cards. There's a chat room. Every card has the optional leave comments on. And, you know, I haven't put a ton of focus in it the last about month or so, but come the launch of 24, we're going to work on a lot of things, including an app. And the second they get an API and EA allows us to have it, we'll have it immediately, which allows us to then tell you how much a card sold for and how huge that would be.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been fun. It's, I would have never been able to do it with it if it wasn't for, you know, knowing a software engineer. Right. But yeah, it's just in its baby stages. I just wanted to make sure that it would work, and I'm excited for that for 24. That I'm excited for.
If you guys are interested, there is a link down below, and you can actually check out my team there too. I'll put a link to that. I know a lot of people are always asking about my team and my squad and what they're looking like, so I'll throw that down there. And one more thing I just want to bring up regarding Hockey Ultimate Team, because it's not something that we touched on. We sort of touched on, and it's that, yeah, we don't have... So we have Rivals, we have Champs, we have Squad Battles. We have Rush, which is absolutely abysmal, by the way.
I'm so sad about Rush, bro. It has so much potential.
It could have been, and still could be, one of the best parts of this game. As someone
I hated
who grew
Rush
up,
when I saw it, by the way. When it first got proposed to us in NHL 20... I was like, this is terrible. I was not a part of that. I was not in the program yet. Yeah, I think that was the last year before. It was the game before.
Yeah, so I was brought in to play Hut Rush in that tournament with Brady Tkachuk and all those guys. Sick. So that's how I was brought into the program, and which was absolutely awesome. And when I first played it, it was a lot of fun because it reminded me of NHL Hits and the 3v3 arcade we used to play, and those types of games. I like the arcadey stuff, the more fun randomness of the game. Where, say, NHL Hits, you have shark heads versus zombies going out there, and you're running each other over, and there's boosts, and there's power-ups, and you're scoring goals and unlocking things. I feel as though they've really dropped the ball with Hut Rush, and could have turned this into that. I mean, if you want to just remaster NHL Hits at this point,
yeah, when they
play that.
When they come out with a new mode, the thing that happens is they come out with a new mode, and it's the big focus, and then it just goes years without being touched.
Draft champions.
And that's kind of the MO. That's kind of the MO of... You can even look at Be a Pro.
Absolutely.
Be a Pro. If you
same.
Search... I don't know if you've looked at this. If you type in NHL 23, the first thing that comes up is NHL 23 Nash or Be a Pro.
Yes, sir.
You have the biggest creator and the most searched thing for the video game, and he loads in every single year with the same opening. And I understand that's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
But nothing has really changed with that.
No.
Because they did the first mode, and then they don't touch it for a few years. And HUT is no different. Like, HUT Rush, in my opinion, could be a great... First of all, it has the season pass reward structure right
and that's very interesting to me. Another
you
interesting...
just drag that into the full thing. Like,
not only that, for challenges, too, though. Right? We always talk about challenges and how much of a grind it is. Like, nobody wants to play offline. Oh, I scored 5 goals, now I sit here for 3 periods, is essentially what's happening. But that's not the case in Hut Rush. In Hut Rush, if you make 10 passes, you are immediately rewarded for making those 10 passes, which is one of the objectives or something like that. Why can't you just have that and challenge it? if I could hop into a challenge for a power-up collectible and it's score 5 goals, if I get that done in the first minute and the game ends, which it does, I think, in MLB and in Madden and in FIFA, that would be a huge help for the offline players to not spend extra time skating in circles waiting for games to end.
I'm sorry. I think that fixing offline challenges and making them moments where you like be a pro player locked.
Yep.
I honestly think that might be one of the biggest changes that they could actually put, because there is no fun way to play the game offline.
No, I agree.
And if you were to, I always use this example as the Sam Gagne 8-point night.
Yes.
So if you were to play on pro, your player locked is Sam Gagne, you score 8 points. Yep. At the end of it, and you actually complete it, you get an 85 or 88 overall Sam Gagne.
Sam Gagne. Yes.
Yes.
Look, you see how simple it is for us to come up with this? And it's not that we haven't brought this up to EA. I want to point that out as well, because it's not
I just think that they don't see the ROI in it. And
yes.
That's something that us as creators and consumers do not see, is that it is a business at the end of the day. Yep. And if we're still going to keep pumping money into the game, and they have to do minimal amount of change to it.
Yeah.
I think if you owned a business, why would you?
Yeah,
you know,
no, it makes sense.
Honestly, like, why would you? Like, until sales crater and or the NHL gets upset, I don't know. I don't know when we'll see a significant change, and we're seeing that in Madden apparently.
I did see that online.
It's like a make or break year. I don't know what the hell that means, but
if this year doesn't pop off, then we'll see what the consequence.
Right?
Yeah, no, there was no consequence at the end of that. But
$1 billion game. What is he not going to make it? Like, we tried,
right.
But we're not going to do it.
Yeah. The fact that they even came out and said that is very interesting, and I feel with 24 coming out for NHL, if it doesn't go the way that they're hoping, we could see the same thing for 25. So
I don't even know what the hope is, though.
The hope is that we have something fun to do.
Like, I don't know.
The hope is we have fun.
I hope we have fun for a longer period of time, because again, we play the game more than it's intended, that we will run out of it. Same with MLB. People that I know that people haven't even got off the game, and what's funny is I did that last year.
Yeah.
And they're still having an okay time. There's just too much to do. Give us too much to do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. If you give us, hypothetically, could you imagine we load into HUT for the first time next year and we do see moments and we see the return of competitive seasons?
That would be massive, man. Like, that would be that would be the new mode. Like, I would consider that a new mode. I'd be pumped for that. At least something new, man. There has to be something new.
Yep. Hell, give me a way to customize my jerseys in Arena as well, yeah. Just throwing that in there like you do in MLB.
Dude, just give me the Sharks home and away jerseys. Did you see
I knew you were going to bring that up.
I forgot, because I signed a deal with an esports facility in Washington, so I use the Capitals jersey. So, and I usually use the Ice Dogs jerseys. I'm a season ticket holder of the worst team in the OHL, and so I haven't used the Sharks jersey in a while. And I went and looked. I was like, how are the home and aways? Still, it's April. This season's over. Yeah. Like, literally. Isn't that like something like the San Jose Sharks could be pissed about?
You would think, right? Like the team's not being represented.
Yeah, like that. It's not like it's their alternates, because I understand that.
Yeah, like
right?
if it's a different thing
in the game.
Yeah,
like it's their home and what's even more infuriating is that the home and aways are in versus.
Yeah, they're in the game. It's not like they're not programmed.
Dude, someone's gonna drag the file. I don't know. It's wild. That one blows me away, and I know everyone's like, oh, just because you're a Sharks fan. It's like, dude, there's an NHL franchise, and you're using their old home and aways.
Yeah,
like, that's just ridiculous. But
the fact that we could just sit here and talk for another 4 or 5 hours and probably come to the same conclusion and just keep shitting on things, is kind of really telling in what we think of the game and what we're hoping for to see in NHL 24. Regardless, though, I think that we should just end it off here. I'll let you move on with your day, but thank you so much for coming over to the channel and talking with me about Hockey Ultimate Team. I really appreciate your insight. Like, I'm not an MLB guy, and getting the insight of, like, how the cards are done. Like, WWE does it, where there's specific Evo cards, and you complete certain objectives with that card, and the card upgrades automatically. Which,
base upgrades.
If we had that, it would be amazing. But I also like the way the parallel system works. That sounds like it's awesome. And, of course, everything you do, I appreciate. So thank you for coming on to the channel, Cam. I appreciate it. And if there's any links or anything, will all be down below in the description if you want to check out No Sleeves, Sleepless, Do Perfect, whatever you want to call them.
Thanks, dude. It was a blast.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.